Yo, Devy Junkies. Welcome back to another Devy Dashboard production. I am Brandon Lejeune, host of the Devy Deep Dive podcast and creator of the Devy Dashboard. And I want to talk about a player today that I'm pretty excited about. I've been excited about for a while. We're all looking for who's going to be the RB3, right, of the 2022 class. Most people have Breece Hall, Isaiah Spiller, 1 and 2, right? After that, it's wide open, man. It is a horse race. And today I want to plant my flag on my favorite player that I think can have a really big rise next year, and that is Mr. Tyler Allgeier, BYU running back. Yeah, so let's talk about Tyler Allgeier, right? Like I said, we're all looking. There's got to be a back that's going to emerge, right? Someone has to come into this 2022 class. Some people got Eric Gray, Zamir White, right? But I like Tyler Allgeier as a guy that could maybe be a day two guy next year if everything falls his way. So let's take a look at his stats and get right into it. All right. So for the first 2 years when he was at BYU, he primarily played linebacker. He played running back in high school, right? But then when he got to BYU, he played linebacker. And then last year he was given the rock for the first time to have some sort of full load at the running back position for BYU, and he excelled, man. So we're gonna look at his stats here. He had 150 attempts, 1,300, a little over 1,100 yards, 7.5 average, which is great, 13 TDs. Okay, and receiving, he's a pretty good receiver, man. He caught 14 balls for 174 yards, averaging 12.4 yards a carry, right? So some really good advanced stats here. Let's take a look at real quick. Okay. First and foremost is his yards after contact were fantastic. These are PFF stats, 4.72 yards after contact, man. And you're going to see this when we look at his film that, I mean, this dude is a horse out there, right? Breakaway run percentage, right? That's the percentage of his yardage that are breakaway runs, right? And that equal to 51%, which is fantastic. And he had 21 runs over 15 yards. So he's got a little bit of that explosiveness to his game, right? So I guess let's talk about what are the positives, what are the negatives of Tyler Allgeier as we look at him as an NFL prospect next year, right? So I think the positive is first and foremost he's got NFL size, man. I love freaking running backs that are big and bulky and thick and got the lower half that is thick and can withstand the pounding in the NFL. And I think he's got that. And he's got, vision and lateral movement we're going to look at. He's got the ability to shed contact and, contact balance, which, is great. He's got speed, man. He claims he ran a 4.39 last year, but when there's a combine, hopefully there's a combine this year, we're going to see what his testing is. But 4.39 for a 220-pound man is like, that's pretty good. So even if it's 4.4 or 4.5 or something like that, given his size, I still think that's a great, measurable for his game. He's got some pass catching ability, and he played linebacker. And I would have to think if you played linebacker for 2 years, that has got to help maybe with your vision and stuff. I think he would understand the leverages and the coverage schemes a little better. So I think that might add to his ability to as he navigates through the line of scrimmage and the second level. So what are his negatives, right? There's a lot of people that really aren't high on Tyler Allgeier, and I certainly respect that and understand that. I mean, he's going to lose Zach Wilson, right? He's going to apparently 4 new linemen are headed to the NFL, so he's going to have a new offensive line. He's got a new coach, a new offensive coordinator. So he's going to be the man this year, right? So what does that mean? It means like, okay, Tyler Allgeier, NFL prospect, possibly, right? New quarterback, new everything. I mean, they're going to be stacking the boxes on him. So he basically ran in a zone scheme all season. And he excelled in that, in that offensive system. So I expect that to continue, this year. So he's only had 1 year production. So, the analytic guys, and we're going to talk to Britt Sanders, is going to talk here shortly about his measurables and his analytics. I still think he's going to have a good profile, but there's a lot of people who are like, okay, well, show me one, you got 1 year now. A lot of people have doubt that now that Zach Wilson is gone, that he is going to produce like he did last year. And you know what? That's a very valid point. There is a chance that, Zach Wilson opened up the playbook, opened up the field for him a little bit. So it's going to be a great, test for Tyler Allgeier this year to see what he does. People knock his level of competition, right? That, he comes from, but, it didn't affect Zach Wilson going and getting NFL draft capital, the lack of competition. So I'm going to throw that kind of out the window. But So and his lateral movement skills we're going to look at here shortly. It's probably one area that I want to see him improve in, especially in the short area spaces. But in the second level, navigating through the field, I think he does a really fine job with that. So those are his positives and his negatives. And Devy right now, analytics is kind of getting more important. So we are going to go to the West Coast right now, and we are going to let Britt Sanders, who is a dashboard contributor, tell you all about his metric and analytical profile.
Thank you, Brandon, for welcoming me in. I really appreciate it. I cannot wait to talk about Tyler Allgeier and in his analytical profile. So before I get started, I want to talk about his overall market share, right? So what his ability to contribute to the BYU's offense in the totality, because her running backs were really focused on what he's able to do rushing and receiving, given the fact that they're so often utilized in both aspects of the offensive game. So from a rushing perspective, he was able to do 49.43% of the total rushing share for the BYU Cougars. Now, when you take into account that Zach Wilson had about 70 carries accompanying on top of that, I think it's safe to say that Tyler Allgeier is going to probably project to close to 200 carries in his 2021 season, which is promising. Now, what I would like to see also improve is his receiving. Last year, he only had 5.13% of the total receiving share. Now, some of that could be contributed to the fact that Zach Wilson is a bit more of a rushing quarterback, so he was more likely to take a run instead of checking down to Allgeier. If we want Allgeier to be a workhorse role, he's going to need to grow his receiving profile, something that's not completely out of the option, and he only really needs 1 year to show it. When we're looking at the ability, he was able to contribute to the touchdown percentage, the total market share. He was able to take about almost 20%, 19.17. That's a good number, right? So when you're looking about that, if they're going to score 10 touchdowns in 3 games, he's going to get 2 of those. That's really good when we're looking at efficiency wise and scoring wise. What we're really trying to look for here is just to make sure that they're not being replaced over another back to be on the goal line. We want them to be able to actually succeed at the goal line instead of needing a heavier back to get in there. Something I don't believe Tyler Allgeier is going to be struggling with. It's just a hunch, though. When we're diving into his analytics, right? So beyond the market share, we're going to talk about his breakout age, which was the 2020 season, his redshirt sophomore year. Now he converted from linebacker, so I'm not knocking it against the fact that he's A, redshirted, and B, he's a sophomore when he broke out, because it makes sense that this is his first full running back year. We're also looking at his BMI, 31.8. Me and Brandon have a couple things in common. One of them is we like our running backs thick. So the fact that Tyler Allgeier already is coming in with pro football weight and size is a really big indicator for me that he's likely going to be picked to be a workhorse back or a thunder if it's a running back by committee. Now, apparently, this offseason, he ran a 4.39 40-yard dash, claimed by himself. Now, I'm going to approach this as I would a pro day number back in the day. There's so many numbers coming out, but how we're adjusting that. However, I don't trust off-season numbers. So I'm going to add 0.5 of a second to that. So we have him at about 4.44 40, which is still very good for his size. So when you adjust it for his weight as well, and this helps give a better scale for the total speed for all running backs, so that a running back that's 220 and runs a 4.4 is on the same playing field as a running back that's 185 and runs a 4.4, because they're different speeds, because there's different mass moving forward. We're looking for a speed score over 100. Tyler Allgeier smoked that with a speed score of 113.21. Again, all I'm looking for is over 100. So the fact he exceeded that is thrilling to me. I really, really like this. Now, we're going to look at the dominator. The dominator kind of takes the market share numbers and puts a better value on them holistically. The traditional dominator is 50% or 50% total yards for running backs and 50% touchdowns. He had about a 20.81%. So he technically broke out at that threshold, which is good because you're looking for over 20%. Ideally, he's able to contribute more and more. Again, being this is his first full year as a running back, that's really good given the fact that he's able to do 20% of that. When you weight his dominator, so you weight it towards yards and away from touchdowns, given how unpredictable touchdowns can tend to be, his dominator only lost 4.4, basically 20.48%. So I really like this. This makes me happy when a player's dominator and weighted dominator are relatively close because that means that it's not too skewed by touchdowns, which shows me that they are going to be productive, regardless of if they're able to get into the touchdown or not. Now, the one thing I would like to see Tyler Algier improve on is his yard per team attempts. And what this is this an efficiency metric for running backs to better gauge how efficient they are with the touches they're getting out of the total pie of the team's offense. He had 1.64. Ideally, the threshold you want to see a player exceed is 1.8, which is close. And when you look at his box score numbers from 2020, you would think he was very efficient. However, BYU was passing a ton, and rightfully so, because it was a really sketchy team. So I expect this to keep improving forward because when you look at 7.5 yards per carry and 12.4 yards per reception, those are numbers that mean that that he is able to be a efficient runner. I like what I'm seeing. I want to see more, and I cannot wait to dive into his 2020 film with you guys later. This is his analytical profile, and I'll just say this: Tyler Algier is absolutely creeping up my boards. He is someone I am excited for in 2022. Thanks, Brandon. Back to you.
All right, man. Thanks, Britt, for that. That was awesome. I mean, that gives you guys that are really into the numbers a good, look at what he, looks like from an analytical train. So let's just get right into it, man, because this is like my favorite part of the show. Let's get into the film. Let's go to the film room. All right, the first trait we're going to look at is his vision and patience. Obviously, super important for any back to be successful in the NFL. So let's just take a look at Tyler's vision here and patience. I think he really does approach the line of scrimmage with patience, has the nice cutback you can see there. He goes out to the left, cuts in, makes another nice cut there. So he sees the field. I like how he sees as he gets through the line of scrimmage, trying to get that extra yardage. Here's another nice play. He sticks his foot in the ground, kind of there. I like that play right there as well. Let's just take a look at it again. He manipulates that defender there, kind of. Then he cuts to the left. Then right here, he gives a little shake and bake, makes that guy miss. Oof, and then gives that number 14 a pounding, man. Look, he gets 5 freaking yards. That's how good he is, man. I mean, he gets 3 or 4 yards, like we talked about earlier in the show, every time he gets hit. Yards after contact is impressive. So really like this play here. His patience, navigating through that second level, through the linebackers. And again, he's getting gang tackled by 3 or 4 guys. I like how he's using his blockers, and then a little burst right there. And then he comes up and he's look at the 5 guys taking him down, man. So his footwork and lateral ability, I think, is good. I don't think it's elite. This is where I'm hoping I can see some improvement this fall. But I think he's got a base skill set to be somewhat successful in the NFL. So here again, I like that play. Let's take a look at that again. He goes back, makes the cut right there, makes that guy miss, number 14 again, or whatever his number is there, and then he got hit there. But I think he's got some decent lateral ability. Nice, a couple stutter steps there, but I like how he bounces outside here. Again, I think he just navigating through this line of scrimmage. He cuts in, then right here he goes boom and gets that has at least that speed to bounce to the outside and get that extra yardage, man. And that's all you can ask for some of these second tier backs that we're trying to identify going to the NFL next year. So this is a pass catching play, but I like his shake and bake on here. Again, the vision to cut inside, making that guy miss. So again, he's got pass catching ability. We're going to look at that in a second, but he makes that guy miss, right? Stays in bounds, fast enough to have that guy miss. Then boom, sees the vision, cuts inside, and again gets 2 or 3 yards after contact. So let's get a look at his burst and long speed. Again, you're going to see this guy, man. He ain't going to get caught in the second level. I mean, boom, guy misses, and there ain't no one going to catch him. Like we talked about earlier, he claims he has 4.39 speed. So let's say it's 4.4, like Britt said, but I mean, fast enough. I mean, the kid is not getting caught. I've seen plenty of other running backs in this class that would get caught from behind, and Algier isn't, man. I mean, the dude, he's got, and in this play right here, he's got the bounce to go outside, right? So not only does he have that long speed when he hits the second level, but he's got the burst there to make that guy miss. Look at that again. All right. He's got that burst around the edge. Look at that. Number 8 misses. And he's got 12, 13 yards on that play. So, and of course, this is his famous run here on Boise State, where again, I mean, he is not going to get caught from behind. So I think he's got good speed for a 220-pound back. All right, so his strength and contact balance got to be one of his best traits, right? Without a doubt, just his frame. But I mean, just look at some of these plays. Nice cut back here. Boom. Look how he sheds contact on that first hit right there. Look at that. and he just keeps his balance, and then again just gets 4 or 5 yards right after contact there. I mean, he's just a punishing runner. And what I'm going to do, I'm taking any back who has this kind of physicality over some other kind of back that maybe has better stats but doesn't have play strength. I mean, just look at he's a bull. Look at him. Look at him. So, I mean, again, I mean, if you're going to go for a second tier back in this class, outside maybe the top two or three, I'm going with a guy who's got physical play strength like this kid, man. I mean, just watch this play. Look at that. I mean, he just put that guy, knocked him on his ass. I mean, what other backs in this class has that physicality to go along with his game? I mean, it's impressive. His strength and contact balance is super impressive, and of course, his pass catching is. We saw that play earlier, and he's an able pass catcher. He is not going to be an elite pass catcher, but man, it is not a deficiency of his game. He kind of got tripped up right there, but I mean, he can pass. He can catch the ball. And he's got some skill in the second level when he's got the ball in his hands. So, I mean, that's his film. So, I mean, I like what I see going forward with the Tyler Allgeier this year. Yeah, man. So, I mean, overall, I'm pretty excited about Tyler Allgeier, man. I mean, like I said, man, after, Brees Hall and Isaiah Spiller next year's class, everyone is down on the 2022 class, and I get it. I mean, there's not a lot of, beaming talent right now, but man, somebody is going to emerge, and I want to plant my flag right now on Tyler Allgeier because I'm given his size and everything. I'm going to take him over an Eric Gray. I mean, just like right now, that's just where I am with Tyler Allgeier. I'm going to go with size, man. Play strength is very important in the NFL. And I mean, this kid brings it to the table. And I think, if he can improve this year, actually, he knows now he's going to be the guy, right? So what is he doing this offseason? Hopefully he's in there working on all of his agility, his strengths, his footwork, and all that good stuff. So, man, I'm more excited to watch Tyler Allgeier than any other player because I have had my name on this kid for months on the dashboard. And I know a lot of my dashboard guys have been, picking him up because they think I, believe in him. So I got a little bit of pressure. But nonetheless, I'm excited about Tyler Allgeier. And hopefully after this video, maybe you like him, maybe you don't. But thanks for watching, man. And please subscribe to the channel, which would be great. I got a lot of stuff coming, do a lot of game films, got a lot more videos like this coming up, man. So Devy all the time.